If there was only one name to revolutionize the sport of mixed martial arts, that one name would be Francis Ngannou. This guy has become a GOAT outside the cage. How so? A lot of people were hating on Francis because he was asking for too much money, and that's not in my business to get into anyone's economic status or situation. Everyone should have the right to request what they feel that their value is. But I gotta say, Ngannou has made a revolution in this sport, and this is just the beginning. How so? It's no secret that UFC fighters don't make enough or don't make as much money as others. Only the top 1% make a lot of money, and we're talking about six figures and up. Only a very few. So Francis Ngannou, what he's done outside the cage is this situation alone has caused, or at least has inspired, other fighters to not be scared to go against the UFC and try out the market. He did not accept what the UFC was going to give him, which I believe was 8 million. He was going to have a higher contract than Brock Lesnar, according to Dana White. And he turned it down, God knows why. And then he wanted to try out the market. One championship. They were supposed to have a deal, and the deal fell through because I assume Francis wanted more money and he wanted a position in the boardroom, and one championship said nope. I didn't make a video on Francis Ngannou. I didn't even make a short on him because I wanted to wait out this and see where this was going, because Francis Ngannou is a guy I respect. I respect all UFC fighters. I respect every single fighter. Even if it's an amateur, I respect them all. But I really wanted to, before I spoke about this, I wanted to see what was going on and where this was going. Because a lot of people are speaking of Francis, and they're in a way like giving him, like backlash, like, oh, that he made a mistake. And I didn't want to be another one. I wanted to have a concrete and honest thought on this situation. And I gotta say, so far, this is a win-win. This is a win for PFL, and this is a win from Francis. Why is it a win for Francis? Well, he not only got the money he wanted, he also got a position in the executive board to become an ambassador for the PFL promotion in Africa. And it's also a win for PFL because in the resume, as a marketing strategy, they can say that they took the heavyweight champion of the UFC, of the most prestigious promotion in the sport of mixed martial arts. They have those bragging rights. So far, this situation is a win-win. Now, is it a risk? Yes, it's a risk on Francis. You can say so, because he's going down to a lower tier division, you can say, because there isn't much competition in the heavyweight division. I think the champion, if I'm not mistaken, is a guy that got KO'd by Yuri Prohaska before the UFC. So that's the current champion of heavyweight at PFL, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely Francis has entered, a lower competition, but at the expense of what? In my opinion, I don't think he has anything to prove. Yeah, sure, he's not taking the fight against John Jones, but like John Jones, I feel that Francis has done what he's already accomplished his dream. So right now, at the age of 38, I believe, he's close to 40, but right now he just wants security, and he's more focused on the business aspect, on the long term. He's already done the hard part, and kudos to him. Like, this guy's already making the money that he wants, and there's a different meaning. He has a different purpose right now. Yeah, so like I said, Francis Ngannou has found a different purpose in the sport besides just fighting. He wants to make a statement, and I'm happy for him. I gotta say, like, I would be happy for any fighter that took this decision, because fighting is really hard. Clearly, that's why I don't do it, because it's just a very hard sport, and it's not a sport that you play. It's you fight. You don't play. You don't play mixed martial arts or boxing or any combat sport. You fight. So again, I am truly happy for Francis Ngannou. Again, is it a risk for PFL? Sure, because they're bringing in a guy that in his prime, he didn't sell insane amount of pay-per-views. The fight against Stipe Miocic, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the stats here with me right now, but if I'm not mistaken, he sold under 500,000 pay-per-views. So he sold around like 400,000 pay-per-views, which is not a lot, to be honest. There are guys that sell way more than him, like George Masvidal. Let's not even talk about Conor McGregor, Israel Adesanya, Nate Diaz. Like, there's guys that sell more than him. But right now, the PFL is basically throwing in a statement that they have a heavyweight champ in their organization. So far, this is a win-win on both ends. And how is Francis Ngannou a GOAT outside of the cage? Well, apart from, making a statement and history, you could say, apart from other fighters following his steps, he wants to promote the sport of mixed martial arts in Africa. He wants to change not only the country of his birth, Cameroon, he wants to change a whole continent. He wants to change Africa. He wants to make Africa a powerhouse when it comes to mixed martial arts. And let me tell you, just like Khabib did with the fighters and the kids in Dagestan, I see Francis Ngannou doing that for a whole continent in Africa. Because I'm pretty sure Africa has a lot of talent, and it's just a region with not enough resources that the fighters have fighters and kids have privileges to go in the UFC or Bellator and go compete. And now that Francis is in that board, he's kind of like that mentor that can inspire kids, that can help build facilities. Like, Francis Ngannou can help build a PI, a recruitment, an academy or something like that. He can make a huge impact in the continent. And even then, like, Francis Ngannou, what he can do is like apart from bringing just, African fighters to the UFC, to Bellator, to ONE, or to PFL, he can also help a lot of kids that don't have, the resources. He can help them with other endeavors of their lives. When you're training a sport or a martial arts, you're so busy in improving and learning that you pretty much stay off the bad habits. So he's gonna pretty much change lives. So this is why I believe that Francis Ngannou has become a GOAT outside of the cage, because he's gonna change a whole continent. He's going to inspire kids to basically be champions. You know how many Francis Ngannous are out there in Africa that no one knows about because, again, they don't have the luck or the resources. So Francis Ngannou wants to change that. And he's going to change lives, because maybe there's going to be, kids that never make it, but they basically improve their lives because of, training mixed martial arts. And another W that, Francis Ngannou takes is that he pretty much signed the contract only for MMA. So, he can make money elsewhere. He can, if he sees a great opportunity for boxing, he can go box and make his money. So he has no limits. So again, I think this is a win on both ends, and I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna watch Francis Ngannou's fights at PFL, and Francis, you are an absolute GOAT, man. Outside of the cage, you're still a GOAT. Like, Congrats, man, for inspiring and changing lives. And guys, that is it for today. I'll catch you guys next time. I'm out.